A little girl was run over without mercy. On a dark London night, drowned in thick fog, a short man with a distorted face kept walking calmly. He didn't run. He didn't look back. He just kept moving as if nothing had happened. Then he stopped before the angry crowd and said coldly, "I'll pay." He offered them a strange deal, a large sum of money in exchange for complete silence. Moments later, he led them into a dark alley where an old door stood, no bell, no name, as if it didn't belong to this world. They went through the door and found themselves inside the home of one of London's most respected men, Dr. Henry Jekyll. Just minutes later, the servant returned holding an official check signed in Dr. Jekyll's own name. A crime in the street and untouchable respect inside the house. That's when suspicion began to creep into the mind of the lawyer Utterson. How could one man hold two impossible opposites? The monster and the saint in the same body. And what happens behind that door when it closes? The story doesn't begin here. It begins when it ends. And what you'll see next, you will never expect. Jekyll's research. Insane scientific nonsense. He has crossed the limits of nature. He is no longer the man I knew. I fear he has opened a door that will never close. Utterson slowly raised his head. Dr. Lanyon sat pale as death in the darkness, trembling like a man who had seen the unbearable. He shook his head violently, as if refusing even to remember. Utterson returned to his office, unease gnawing at his chest. He lit a single candle, opened the iron safe with a trembling hand, and took out Jekyll's will. He read in a low voice, "In the event of my death or my disappearance for more than 3 months, all my possessions shall pass to Mr. Edward Hyde." He froze. Disappearance? Not death? And who is Hyde? A heavy name, cold, as if it came from the darkness itself. He closed the will slowly, but the feeling did not close with it. Something was moving in the dark, and something had already begun. On a bleak night, he appeared, Hyde, a short, hunched figure moving with fast, unnatural steps, as if the ground itself rejected him with every motion. His presence alone carried an instinctive disgust that crept into the bones before the mind could even understand why. Utterson had been watching for weeks, hiding in the shadows night after night, waiting and chasing a secret he already feared would change him forever if he ever came too close. And then he saw him. He stepped forward slowly, voice controlled but body betraying him. "Hyde." The figure stopped, then turned with a smile, cold and hollow, completely devoid of anything human, and without hesitation he brushed past Utterson and entered the house as if it belonged to him, not even glancing back. From that moment, Utterson could no longer pretend ignorance. Days later he met Dr. Jekyll in his garden, where the air felt too still and the silence too heavy. Jekyll stood tall, elegant, imposing, yet his eyes carried something unbearable, as if they had witnessed a private hell no man should ever know. When Utterson asked about Hyde, Jekyll froze, his face draining of all color, and then in a broken, trembling whisper he spoke, begging him to promise protection and justice when he was gone, warning him never to love Hyde because he was not someone meant to be loved. He was someone who should be erased.
An eyewitness saw everything. Hyde attacked with a terrifying, ape-like rage, raising a heavy cane and smashing the victim's head again and again until the cane broke. Then he trampled the body in madness. In just moments, it was over, and he vanished into the fog as if he had never existed. The next morning, London awoke to a horrifying shock. Mr. Carew, a respected member of Parliament, had been brutally murdered beyond recognition. From months before, there had been unease and quiet fear, but this crime shattered all doubt. It proved that something far darker was at work. Utterson rushed to Dr. Jekyll's house, only to find him pale, isolated, trembling beneath his covers like a man fleeing an endless nightmare. In a weak voice, he swore that Hyde was gone forever, that he would never return. But the truth was not that simple. When Jekyll handed him a letter, Utterson noticed something that froze his heart. The handwriting. It was Jekyll's, yet it was distorted, twisted in a strange, unnatural way, as if another hand were writing from within him.
The laboratory door collapsed under a violent axe blow, and when Utterson rushed inside, he found a scene that made no sense. On the floor, Hyde was twisting in his final moments, his small body swallowed by Dr. Jekyll's clothes, and beside him, an empty vial of poison. Only seconds passed, then silence. But the strange part? Jekyll had completely vanished. No body, no blood, no trace, only a letter. Moments before, a terrifying howl echoed inside the room, like a trapped beast. Utterson didn't hesitate. He struck the door again and again until it finally broke. But what he discovered? The truth wasn't in the room. It was in a single line. I am both. Are you starting to understand now? He created a drug to separate good from evil. But the first thing that broke free wasn't human. It was something else, something without mercy. The sealed documents revealed a secret no mind could comprehend. Jekyll wrote it himself. Man is not truly one, but two, and I have unleashed the worst of them. He succeeded, and for a moment he thought he had won. He became Hyde, pure evil. No conscience, no limits. At first, it felt intoxicating. By day, a respected doctor. By night, a monster with no restraint. Then, the nightmare began. He no longer needed the drug. He started waking up as Hyde. And the only salt that could bring him back was gone. Forever. Now, there is no going back. The real question isn't what will happen next. It's this. Is there anything left of Jekyll at all? Or was Hyde the truth from the very beginning?
In 30 minutes, this body won't be Jekyll anymore. It will be Hyde forever. But the truth he never dared to write is that the monster was never what we thought. In the final lines of his journal, Henry Jekyll wrote with a trembling hand, "In 30 minutes, everything ends. Do I end my life now or face the gallows as a criminal? It doesn't matter anymore. Jekyll is gone, and what remains is not human." Inside the cold laboratory where it all began, the silence was suffocating. Broken vials, torn papers, and the smell of failure choking the air. He thought he could separate good from evil, but in truth, he was unleashing something unstoppable. Hyde was never just a dark side. He was what emerges when conscience begins to fade, and with every appearance, he grew stronger, while Jekyll slowly disappeared, until nothing was left, and the end became inevitable. In the final moment, there was no return, no balance, no escape. Only complete control by something without mercy, something that sees humans as tools and life as pure chaos. And when the laboratory door was finally broken open, they didn't find Jekyll.
they found a deformed corpse lying on the floor, the end of a man who tried to split his soul in two and